Nobody prepared us for this era of shunning. Humans have a brilliant way of rephrasing things that have been around for thousands of fucking years, or at least centuries. Do you know how, shocked I was when I actually started looking up cults and cult-like behavior? That shit is everywhere. It is literally everywhere. And the thing is, people have been studying it for so long, and they've been warning us about like social media for a long time. And it's just getting worse literally by the fucking day. By the day. It's all well and good when somebody gets cancelled and deplatformed for not fitting in with the prescribed talking points. But the thing is, this is just normal. It's desensitizing people. All the fucked up shit that happens in the world right now is desensitizing you bit by bit. So that once they start bringing in more fucked up things, you're already predisposed to accepting it. I actually did research on canceling. Forget Andrew Tate is just the most recent face of canceling, right? I even found a really nice video. I'll play it right now and I'll get more into it.
Now, as far as religious context is concerned, shedding is a decision by the leader or by the congregation to take a person and to emotionally and to socially distance yourself from that person. Basically, if a person is acting or doing something that is against the will of the leader or against the rules or something along those lines, the congregation or the leader will decide that person needs to be separated. That person, you can't talk to them. They're poisonous. They're toxic, and they're going to corrupt you and the church. That's usually the reasoning behind it. Now, this is different than excommunication in that excommunication means that they want absolutely nothing to do with you forever, whereas shunning is a kind of a way to manipulate you. They still want you to be a part, more or less. They still kind of want you around because they want, people, they want your influence or your money or however it goes.
Now, I actually wanted to get into something that's really more concrete. And there's a apparatus, there's a technique or formula or something, I don't know. There's a thing that exists to evaluate whether or not a group dynamic is a cult dynamic. It's called the BITE model. And it stands for behavior, information, thought, and emotional control, because a cult operates on those four aspects: control your behavior, control of information, control of thought, and controlling of emotions. And on this diagram, it shows like from the constructive side to the destructive side, right? For individuals, leaders, and for organizations. So for an individual, a constructive value is to be your authentic self, to have unconditional love, conscience, creativity, and humor, free will, critical thinking. And on the destructive side, let's just go through this. False identity, a cult identity, conditional love, doctrine, right? Fear and guilt, solemnity, I don't know. Yeah, dependency and obedience. So the pretty much every aspect has its opposite on the other side. That's for individuals, right? False identity, conditional love, doctrine, which is basically like you have the prescribed talking points and you cannot differ from them. Fear and guilt, dependency and obedience. Sounds familiar? For leaders, If you're good, you're psychologically healthy, knows your own limits, empowers individuals, trustworthy and accountable. But on the destructive side, narcissistic or psychopathic, elitist, grandiose, power hungry, secretive, deceptive, claims absolute authority. And now we get to organizations and relationships. On the healthy side, there's checks and balances, there's informed consent, individuality, diversity, means create the end, encourages growth, and anyone is free to leave. On the opposite side, it's authoritarian structure, deceptive or manipulative, clones people, ends justify the means, preserve their own power, no legitimate reasons to leave in the organization. There are no reasons to leave. Tell me that doesn't sound like any sort of modern. I don't even know how to describe it, honestly. Because the thing about like social media is it's everything on the destructive side. I'm sure you can go through and take for yourself what the average social media community, what aspects it has, right? For the individual, for the leaders of a, let's say, like a really big content creator, right? This shit is insane. Because it gets worse than that, right? I looked up the Britannica definition of shunning. Shunning is a social control mechanism used most commonly in small, tight-knit social groups to punish those who violate the most serious group rules. It is related to exile and banishment, although shunning is based on social rather than physical isolation or separation. In social groups where a person's social identity and well-being are closely tied to regular interaction with other group members, shunning can be a very emotionally painful and effective punishment for those who violate group rules. Okay? Now pay attention here. Shunning is used for only the most serious offenses, and the punishment is usually applied only after a formal judicial procedure. You can't condemn somebody to shunning. Somebody is convicted of their accusations and then they are shunned, right? The old order Amish, for example, used many lesser punishments, including gossip, lectures by church officials, and public confession for everyday offenses. Shunning is the most severe punishment and is reserved for the most serious offenses, such as marrying a non-Amish person, adultery, excessive contact with the outside world, and drunkenness. Shunning is only instituted through a unanimous vote by the church community. Although societies that practice shunning may apply the punishment for life, it is typically limited to a set period, which is often ended by another formal hearing or by evidence that the person has returned to acting in a socially responsible manner. Shunning may be applied to the individual rule breaker's family as well, which puts pressure on the family members to act to correct the behavior of the offender. There is little empirical research on the effectiveness of shunning, but it is believed to be effective because it deters repeat of behavior by the offender, deters similar behavior by others, and marks for the community those behaviors that are considered unacceptable. You heard all that? Shunning is only used for the most serious offenses, and the punishment is usually applied only after a formal judicial procedure. If you're a thinking person, you already realize that this is not the kind of culture that we live in. It is so easy for somebody to get cancelled, right? And I like how they've differentiated between exiling and banishment, because they're not; those are now physical. Although that also happens, but shunning itself is the domino. It's the first domino you tip before being exiled. And yet now, because everything is online, these rules have such a much more different dynamic online. Because what's the equivalent of shunning online? It's being cancelled. What's the equivalent of being exiled or banished? It's being deplatformed. And you can go on and on about like freedom of speech online and freedom of expression online and blah, blah, blah. Not when we have giant multinational corporations that run this shit. Sorry to say, they also buy out the fucking politicians as well at the same time. So we know that's a pipe dream, but that's not even the scary part. The scary part is we're becoming more and more, even in the fucking developing world, people are getting onto the grid, right? This is why they're so fixated on, developing Africa and India is going to be the next superpower, blah, blah, blah. They want to get every fucking person as hooked as any average person on the Western world. They want to get them hooked on social media, hooked on fucking cardless payments. They want you online and not out here. So that once shunning becomes a concrete means of punishment, you're going to be socially dead. Today, the other day, years before, it was David Icke, right? Then it was Alex Jones. Now it's Andrew Tate. And these are all guys who, Alex Jones, the thing, I found Alex Jones really fucking hilarious. But the thing that he did was like absolutely horrendous, because the Sandy Hook school shooting, he pretty much pushed the lie that they were all crisis actors and the parents of the victims were all crisis actors and they were just lying so that they would take their guns away, blah, 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 blah. And this was what, like 2012 or something, right? How many mass shootings have occurred since then and no guns have been taken away? He ruined lives of these parents who had to bury their children because of a fucking psychopath. He ruined their lives. They have to, like, there's one family that had to keep moving like 14 times. I'm not even kidding, like 14 fucking times to avoid these fucking right-wing nut jobs that would follow them into their houses and call them fucking crisis actors. He, you know, and he was warned about it, right? For situations like that, I would say, yeah, if you can't use your platform responsibly and you're threatening the lives of people who had to bury their children, yeah, fuck off. Fuck off. Andrew Tate, though, and this is the funny thing because he was like arrested for allegations of like human trafficking, but he was released on the same day that they were arrested. They checked him out and everything. I don't know if the charges are still ongoing, but in any case, because of how he talks, because of the things that he says, and because a charge like this was put on him, there's no longer a presumption of innocence. The presumption of innocence is the one thing that you, as a person who is accused of a crime, are dependent upon in a judicial system to make sure you don't get completely fucked over. Even if you did the crime, right? The presumption of innocence is one of those things that's like the scientific method, right? Because the scientific method, once they figured it out in like the mid 19th century, it has barely changed since then, right? The format of it, barely. And that just shows how effective it is. The same thing with the presumption of innocence, right? having the right to an attorney, having the right to remain silent in a lot of countries, by the way. A lot of countries, you have that right. Nowadays, it doesn't matter, especially if you're a man. If you're a fucking man, somebody just has to say you did something. That's that's it. They just have to say it. I've literally seen this happen even to some of my fucking friends. They just have to say he did this and he did that's it. Nobody, no evidence, no nothing. Just run with it. Just fucking run with it. I've seen this sheep mentality. Like, this is why I keep saying selective empathy is so much more fucking dangerous than psychopathy. Because these people that do this kind of kangaroo court style of justice or canceling, they would consider themselves empathic, right? And by even the psychological standards, they would be. But the thing is, they know how to turn it off. They know how to turn off their fucking sense of reason so easily. Once somebody's accused of something, that just means it's automatic guilt. I mean, look at fucking Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, right? Amber Heard was literally the face of the Me Too movement. Me Too. And thing is, Harvey Weinstein, absolute piece of shit. Yes. Absolutely. Like, there was a lot of legitimate claims that came out of that movement, but at the same fucking time, right? You can't have a movement like that and also at the same time be pathologizing men at every fucking step of the way that turns woman into a synonym for victim and man into a synonym for perpetrator in any fucking case, no matter the case, no matter the context. That is how we've been living for the past, literally all the past decade, right? Past 15 years. Woman is victim, man is perpetrator, no matter the context. Johnny Depp won his fucking case. Amber Heard has to pay $10 million fucking dollars, and yet she still has defenders. She still has defenders. She still has dumbass pieces of shit talking. I saw a stupid ass article that was like, Amber Heard losing is a threat for black women everywhere. And like, I'm so glad I saw the backlash was fucking right. There were black women who were like, yo, this is a rich fucking white woman. What the fuck does this have to do with black women, right? But they have to keep spinning that angle. They have to keep spinning you into that fucking cycle of victimhood and persecution. And it's literally contrived. Luckily, there's still a few people who can see it, right? Either way, Johnny Depp's life was fucking ruined since 2017. He was being called a fucking abuser, sexual, whatever, all the fucking monstrous shit you could have been called. And yet, her own audios, everyone she put on the stand, just like, there was nothing that stuck to, none of the accusations stuck to Johnny, right? Everyone he brought on the stand, even his former girlfriends, everything said that this guy has been like this. He's been a normal person. He's been a good person, right? But somehow it gets to fucking Amber Heard, and then the audios of her proclaiming to Johnny that, yeah, you go say, I don't know if I can find it. I'll try and find the audio, but she was basically saying like, yeah, yeah, Johnny, tell the world, me, Johnny Depp, I'm a victim of domestic violence, right? And this bitch got on the stand and was faking the most bullshit crocodile tears. And a guy is literally fighting for his fucking, mind you, this is a guy who is a movie fucking star. He is an A-list movie star with hundreds of millions of dollars, all the fame, all the money. And even he was not spared. Even he wasn't like, you can say, yeah, I think at the time he was having alcohol issues and all that kind of stuff, right? Maybe that's the case, but we can see now that he didn't do any of the abusive shit that she was saying he did, right? He might have had problems. He might have had problems with his emotional regulation, yes. But the charges that were thrown at him, how, like, he's only just now able to get his life back, right? Imagine that, for 5 fucking years, you're just a shut-in for things that you did not do. What kind of things do you think they're priming us for now? It literally takes, ooh, and the best example of this,
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry because the last time that it got crazy between us, I really did think I was going to lose my life, and I thought you would do it on accident. And I told you that. I said, oh my God, I thought for the first time.
Amber, I lost a fucking finger, man. Come on. I had a mineral can, a jar of can of mineral spirits thrown at my nose.
You could please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and yes. It's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
It doesn't matter if it's a fair fight. My ass.
And the best example of this is Kevin Samuels. I have never seen such a disgustingly just wicked celebration of a man's death like I saw for Kevin Samuels. I have never seen, like, you can talk about, it's his delivery, blah, blah. This guy was never lying to these women he never forced any woman to get up onto his show and to talk about what they want in a guy. He told them the fucking reality. That is where he went wrong. That was the mortal sin. To tell a woman, a modern woman, that she's nothing less than a 10, that she isn't the whole fucking table, that, she should never fucking settle, not even a fucking trillionaire is enough for her, right? To tell her that she's average at best. That warranted the kind of, these people spat on his grave, they defecated on his grave, they danced, they pretty much did all except pulling his fucking corpse out of the ground and just like tying it to the back of a car and driving around with it. Like, my goodness, I was deeply shocked. There's nobody he killed or raped or kidnapped or extorted. And people are celebrating his death like this. For a guy who was telling you and by the way, he was talking like this. The way he was talking to women, especially black women, is the same way he was talking to black men for many years. Before, until like the last 3 years where he started now like talking to women as well. Or giving women advice as well. It was all cool then. It was all good then. He wasn't a monster or a misogynist or a fucking anti-black, white supremacist, blah, blah, all the fucking bullshit, right? The moment he started telling average women that they're average, and probably even being nice, in that a lot of them were not even average, if I'm being honest, he turned into this vile, putrid monster. And it's people found, but they were just warranted in celebrating his fucking death, like he was. I did not see people disrespecting even Rush Limbaugh or George Bush Sr. or that KKK leader who died a few years ago. I didn't see any, and these are guys who would definitely deserve that kind of fucking disrespect. All pieces of shit, all of them. I did not see this kind of, like, even right now, I'm not even seeing very many memes from, like, the Queen's death, right? What they did to Kevin Samuels was such a wake-up call for a lot of black men across the fucking planet. You give people reality checks and you deserve you deserve to die while doing it, and you deserve to have your death fucking celebrated. Like, this is demonic, man. This is just demonic. This is demonic as fuck. But they'll fucking celebrate the people who tell them to go and fuck whoever they want, however they want, however many times they want, do whatever drugs it is, fucking just use use people however you want, wherever you want. You know, you're the main fucking character of everyone's story, and they should treat you that way, right? But a man taking time out of his fucking days, like literally fucking died doing it, advising people. And you don't have to agree with him. There's some things I definitely disagreed with him on, but I know I could see his intentions. So now they're the ones to decide for us what is sanctioned and what is not, who can be platformed and who isn't. The thing is, Kevin Samuels was going to be deplatformed. If he didn't die, he was definitely going to be. They would have done what they did to Andrew Tate right now. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the scary fucking reality. That a lot of us, you think just because you're average, you think you're just because you're normal, it just takes somebody pulling out their fucking camera and making you go viral for some shit. That's all it takes. That's it. You just go viral within fucking a few hours. And the effect is immediate. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if they instigate it. Doesn't matter. What exactly is there worth saving out here? What exactly is there really worth saving out here? You can save yourself. And in that, you could probably save a lot of people who there absolutely are people who still need help in this world. But the vast majority of them are here? No. Let them enjoy this fucking... I don't even know what to describe. I don't even know how to describe it. And the way they celebrate Kevin Samuels' death, it's like they're not going to die as well. The man died doing something he loved. And he's still remembered and hated and loved or whatever. Can you say that about yourself? This guy, there's gonna be so many, especially women, in like within the next 3. There's already a lot of women who've come out and said, yeah, you know what, this guy was right, right? But in the next 3 to 5 years, a lot of people are going to look like the biggest fucking assholes. But it won't be enough. By that time, like, I'm just waiting for the fucking the fucking government mandated fucking brain chips or whatever. Funny enough, you don't even have to mandate. Like, there was no mandate to have a smartphone, but yet we all have one in our hands right fucking now. I don't know who said it, but you don't have to impose evil onto people anymore. You don't have to impose your authority onto people. They will do it by themselves if you tell them that it's the empowering thing to do. But they won't think for themselves. We're entering some very, very fucked up times. So be careful.